Everything was frilly, flowery, and fancy in contrast to the modern, sleek exterior of the condominium. The place was cluttered but had character. There were so many things that caught Sonia's eye that she couldn't decide which to look at first. Clutter usually stressed her, but being greeted with a strong coffee and a warm smile made things easier after a night flight. It circled twice, then lifted its tail and squatted. Sonia couldn't believe her eyes. She had only seen this on television before. The cat, fancy in line with everything else in the apartment, was using the toilet just like a human.
Can she flush too?
No, she doesn't have the strength in her paw to do that.
A bowl of crystals, an antique three-piece suite, a chandelier, a Moroccan rug, and photographs from times gone by were some of the many things to look at that all appeared to hold their own individual story of how they arrived at this place, just like Sonia did.
How old do you think I am?
I really would not like to guess, and I honestly have no idea.
I'm 76.
Wow, you're so fit and healthy for your age.
I go to the gym and eat organic vegetables every day.
Sonia really admired that. She also felt relieved that this conversation had gone much better than the last conversation of a similar sort. Previously, she had taken a guess at age, aiming low, as you do, but clearly not enough, as she was subsequently browbeaten for insulting the man. She remembered the incident with irritation, as she had told him 3 times she did not want to guess before her awkward plunge. There was something so interesting about getting to know an elderly lady, Sonia thought. In the same way, there was something interesting about meeting a baby for the first time. There is a feeling that you can learn something valuable from them. Neither one of them are controlled by their ego. The babies are too young yet to care what others think. They can be themselves. The elderly are past the stage of caring what others think, so they are free to be themselves. As neither are wasting time being consumed by their egos, they are more emotionally intelligent. It's as if they can look at you and see into your soul. They can see in others the chaotic, angry, controlling energy emitting from them and somehow know better.
You can go back. A long line has formed. You don't need to wait for me.
I'm elderly. I get preferential treatment.
Sonia kept her eyes focused on the ground and stood like a child next to Ivanilda. She waited to hear would anyone from the line object, but nobody dared. There seems to be more respect for elderly in this country than in mine, Sonia thought to herself. The sales assistant finally returned from wherever he had disappeared to and tried to explain. Ivanilda scolded him for what a badly managed system it was, and explained how she shouldn't be kept waiting, as she is elderly. He didn't argue with her. Sonia could barely make eye contact with the sales assistant, and avoided eye contact with the 5 people waiting in line, whom she had cut in front of. Although Sonia had felt embarrassed in the moment, walking home she felt impressed by the elderly lady. Perhaps when she reached Ivanilda's age, she would have an entitlement to just shout at everyone around her when in an irritating situation. As they passed a homeless man on the street, who begged for help, Sonia assumed Ivanilda would not give him anything. To Sonia's surprise, Ivanilda stopped and gave him some coins. Sonia had believed a right-wing supporter would blame the poor for their own problems. It was difficult to profile people based on their political alliance, Sonia thought afterwards. She had seen the flags in Ivanilda's home earlier that day and knew it could only mean one thing. The sighting was subsequently followed by an awkward conversation, where she had listened to the Ivanilda describe her leader as a man of God. Sonia had met people previously who privately supported him, but this was the first time she had come in contact with a superfan who was public about it. Sonia had taken 2 deep breaths and decided not saying anything would be the wisest move. After all, if Sonia didn't open her mind and listen to opposing views, maybe she would be the brainwashed extremist herself. Sonia disliked how the world had become so polarized. Surely, she thought, there were still aspects that we all had in common, regardless of our political views. Sonia had looked at the appalling social divide in the country she was visiting and thought, do the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor? Does anybody, born poor here, have a chance, or are you destined to follow generation by generation in poverty? In Sonia's own country, the situation was difficult, but it was much more difficult here. In Sonia's country, she had received an education as the government there decided it was fair to provide access to education to all. Even with that, Sonia's parents had to work tremendously hard to give her an opportunity, as staying in her nearest city, where the university was located, was expensive. Currently, Sonia had a job that was said to be a good job, one that would deem her middle class in the supposedly non-existent social classes there, but perhaps still visible to the mind's eye. Even with her job, because of the spiraling costs of housing, Sonia wondered, would she ever have a mortgage fully paid and be the owner of her own home? Sonia thought about the day she had felt so stressed from work and exhausted from doing 60-hour weeks that she started to feel a pain across her chest, which traveled down her arm. She wondered if she was having a heart attack that day, until her friend said, "No, I think you just have anxiety." She asked herself, do I really have to pay this price? It's crazy. Is the only alternative today to be born to family with wealth and then most likely inherit a house? To make it on her own, it seemed that she did have to pay that price. Evanilda's eyes blazed brightly when she opened the drawer. She presented her carefully organized coin collection to Sonia. Using a magnifying glass like a true professional, she showed Sonia the year and the letter representing which state coins were from. One coin was from San Francisco in the 60s.
Oh, cool. If I could choose which era I would live, I would choose to be a hippie in San Francisco in the 60s.
Ivanilda laughed. Then refocusing, she produced a coin that had no letter representing the state.
This one is more valuable. The collectors want this one.
How did you get this coin then?
Sonia wondered if Ivanilda had purchased it on eBay or perhaps swapped it for other coins with other collectors somehow.
No, I traveled when I was young. I wanted to learn about other cultures. Anywhere I went, I kept whatever change I received in coins.
You didn't pay any more than 10 cents for this?
No, I didn't pay more. I just received it as change.
How much is it worth now? Can you have it valued?
Ivanilda smiled broadly and played a YouTube video for Sonia, where specialists were discussing the particular coin, and across the screen flashed up a value of $500,000.
What? Who would pay that price? It's crazy.
The collectors would.
Synchronicity, the divine, the universe, call it what you will, had answered Sonia's question. No, you did not need to pay that price. This possibility was open to anyone. Our life is not predetermined by our social class, Sonia thought to herself. Sonia sat back in her chair and smiled at how her question had been answered, as if the divine had listened to her thoughts.
What are you smiling about it?
It's just that this very question about if there are easier ways to come into wealth for those who are not born into it was on my mind a lot lately. And you telling me this story about your coin has just answered my question, but you didn't know? I even had that question.
With a wise certainty, displaying how her years had familiarized her with this type of encounter, Ivanilda concluded.
Serendipity is what we called it in the 60s.